Welcome back to another edition of a crazy little thing called Lovdev. Today's episode is 158 Noisy Disabled Child. Windy day here in the UK. Look at me, I'm a poet and I didn't know it. It is a windy day here in the United Kingdom, in Birmingham. I think it's windy all over the country. Hopefully that will die down because I have a gig this evening. So yeah, I don't want to be blowing about on the motorway or the dual carriageway or any road. I don't want that. Hopefully that will die down. Talking about windy, I think the wind blew my audience away for my solo show. Yes, you're all probably wondering out there, how did your solo show go, Lovdev? It didn't happen. I only sold 2 tickets and I had no walk-ins. To be honest, I wasn't even at the venue. I just looked at my ticket sales. I thought, I didn't want to check. I don't know why. I thought, I'll just turn up and see what happens. But something said to me, nah, mate, just have a look. It doesn't matter. I thought, all right, then, go on then. I'll have a look. I had a look. 2 tickets. Couldn't believe it. So I emailed them. I said, I don't think I want to do my show. Can we pull it? They told me to wait a little bit. You know, you might get walk-ins. You might sell some more tickets. You still got 2 days left. I thought, fair enough. I checked again, right? But I think I clicked on I clicked on last year's show. And it said 10. I thought, oh wow, it's gone from 2 to 10. That's all right. I don't mind 10. And then I emailed them going, oh, you know what? I think I am going to do it now. So then I thought, let me have one more look on the evening before the day of the gig. I had another look and it said 2. And I said, hang on, I thought it said 10. No, I did. I looked at the wrong date. So I just emailed them and I said, let's just pull it. There's no point me driving up there just for 2 people. So I pulled it and I got a message off one person. I won't name drop them. But they said, oh, I was looking forward to your show. What happened? I said, oh, I've only sold 2 tickets. They said, that's a shame because last year's show, you was bloody brilliant. So this year's show was just going to be extra bits that I didn't get to do for my half-soaked show. So now I'm thinking if I do another one, I'm just going to call it Half Soaked 2.0 rather than giving it a new name because it was just confused people, wasn't it? I mean, I'll be honest, it was probably on my end. I didn't promote it enough. I didn't have any posters. That's how lazy I was. But I thought, I've got to go to Leicester and then I'm going to have to stick them all over the venues. And I haven't got time to do that. You know me, I'm a busy man. I don't get things, don't get a chance to do things like that. But the weirdest thing was I had another gig on the same night for a good friend of mine, Kirsty Monroe and Masai, who are engaged. They are both comics. Their wedding is around the corner, actually. So I went and did their gig. It was in a lovely little bar called Bar das Hermanas. I think it was called Bar das Hermanas. It's like a Spanish bar. So you go in Spain and they're all tiled and stuff. That's what it looks like from the outside. And the inside was very nice. You do feel like you're abroad. And apparently, I didn't know this, but they had toilets. I didn't go to the toilets. But they got toilets where there's 2 toilet basins aligned with each other. And there's nothing there to separate it. So there's literally 2 toilet seats next to each other. I should have went and had a look at this. So if you're a couple, you can both use the toilet at the same time, holding hands, and looking into each other's eyes, and showing how much affection you have. That's basically what that was, and I didn't get to see it. So, but all the other comics are talking about it. But I thought that was hilarious. Now I wish I went in there. Now I'm tempted to go and book a meal just to sit on that toilet with my missus. I mean, I don't like using the toilet when she walks in. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes I forget to lock the door. She'll walk in. And I'm thinking, oh, God, why'd you got to walk in for, man? Get out. So I don't know how people do it at a restaurant where you're going to go and eat. That's a bit weird for me. The audience were lovely at that gig. They were amazing, man. I told them about my show. I said I was feeling a bit down today because I had a solo show and no one turned up. Well, 2 tickets were sold. I said I could have done with you lot there. They were generally nice, right? They were like going, because I could tell they were enjoying my comedy. It's a shame that they weren't there. I think if they saw me that night, I think some of them probably would have come to my show. I think. I don't know. We'll have to see. Well, yeah. So the Leicester Festival was a flop for me. And generally, I mean, I don't want to diss the festival because it's my favourite comedy festival, the Leicester one. I've heard from a lot of comics it's been a bit difficult this year there. Not as many people have been to the festival. There's more venues now, so there's more shows. And yeah, that doesn't really work, does it? Less people, more shows? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe other comics had better turnouts than I did. I've seen a few of my friends online who did all say they had a really good festival. Fortunately, I did not. But oh well, that's life. You just got to crack on, haven't you? Don't be bitter, get better. So tonight, I am gigging in Winchester for a comedy club called Barnstormers. That should be nice. It's in a little theatre. I'm in the middle. That's the sweet spot. Then tomorrow, I'm emceeing a pro comedy night, and there's like all telecomics on. I'm the MC. Should be fun. It's not far from my house. It's an hour drive, so yeah, I can do that. And I'm sure my MCing will be absolutely fine. I'm just going to go into comedy, do a bit of material, maybe chat to them. That's probably the best thing. That's where I can get best clips. Talking about best clips, I think, have I told you guys I bought a new camera? I bought this new DSLR mirrorless camera, Panasonic. It's an S5 II model. So originally I bought it and I opened it and I looked at it, but it was a bit heavy, innit? And I didn't realise how much stuff you got to buy for it. I know I've mentioned it before. You got to buy a memory card, you got to buy extra batteries, you got to buy a new bag. And I was like, oh my God, the cost of this is just going up. I was looking on eBay, thought, what are the other options out there? There are similar products that are available. You know, Sony does it, Canon does it, but they're way more expensive than the Panasonic brand. I thought, I don't really want to spend more. So I thought, let me see if I can get anything cheaper. So I had a look online, and then there was a couple of options. And I thought, this is a good deal. I found one on eBay. It's a Panasonic camera. It's a couple of years older than the model I've got. Thought, yeah, there's good reviews on this. I'm one of those people who go on YouTube and, you know, proper analyze a product, listen to people talking about it. What's the features? How do you do this? How do you do that? I mean, the one I've got, it's a professional camera. Do you know what I mean? People make movies with the camera I've got, and you can take fantastic photos on it. So I found one. I thought, all right, there's one on eBay. It was about $1,000, right? And I'll be honest, I only paid a couple of hundred more for the one I've got with a lens. So I thought, okay then. That looks all right. And I was just about to buy it. And then the payment kept messing up because the bloke wanted more money. Because you got to pay for buyer fees and stuff like that now on eBay. And then I thought, then he sent me the final offer. And I thought, do you know what? I've only got to pay it. I've only paid an extra 270 quid. And I've got a way better camera. And I thought, why am I going to return something that's decent, will last me for years, when I'm going to buy something and I might not even like it? So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to keep the one I've got. So I ended up keeping the Panasonic. I think I'm just more afraid of using it because it's so technical. It's something new that I've got to learn, and I'm sure I can pick it up, man. I can't be that daft. That was the only thing that was stopping me, in all honesty. Enough of my problems, anyway. There is a problem we need to sort out. It's on one of the Reddit forums. It is...
Ask the UK.
Ask the UK. Let's see what today's Ask the UK is. Somebody has a bit of a dilemma. Apologies if you can hear my washing machine. I always tend to put on my washing machine. Here's a dilemma before we get into Ask the UK. Why do I always put on my washing machine when I'm recording? So tell you what it is. I love to multitask. That's what it is. I thought, right, we'll get that on. I'll do my recording. By the time my recording's finished and edited and polished and sent out, the washing will be done. I can hang it up. When I say hang it up, I mean put it on one of those rail things. You know, the clothes rail that you put indoors. One of them. I'm trying to save money, man. Electricity is expensive. But no, I've got to put it on when I'm recording this. And then when I'm recording this, that's spinning in the background. Anyway, I'm going absolutely nuts. You probably can't even hear it. You're probably thinking, we can't hear it, mate. What are you talking about? So let's do this again.
Ask the UK.
Before I go absolutely bonkers. Today's question has been posted by somebody called Shy Boy. Shy Boy has a dilemma. It's in his neighborhood. Just by reading the brief title, kind of gives it away. He says, how do I deal with a noisy special needs neighbor? Oh my God. Now that's a very tricky one. If you've got a neighbor who has special needs, you have to understand the life that they are living, although they're not aware of the life they're living. But then some of them do know. But how do you deal with a noisy special needs neighbor? Oh my God, we need to find out more. So let's have a look at what Shy Boy is saying. He says, I've been living in a flat for a number of years now. And the next door neighbours, they have a heavily disabled child. So unfortunate. Most days it would be a disturbing kind of lull or wail that is too loud to ignore. And often there would be loud screaming fits. Sometimes it's during the night and I've had to buy uncomfortable earplugs to sleep. Oh dear. He's saying, I really do not want to knock on for a number of reasons. These are the reasons why he doesn't want to knock on the door. I don't want to be an idiot. It's a disabled child. But it really is disturbing our peace and we're losing our sleep. And so are my guests. I'm concerned the parents neglect the child. You know what? I was thinking that. I was thinking, right, I understand they've got a disabled child, right? From the sounds of it, they are physically disabled. Just by you telling me, I can already picture them. I don't know what they look like, but I can understand what type of disability they probably have. Now, they're not always noisy all of the time. Mainly because they need something, right? That could be it. Are the parents neglecting the child, though? That's what I was thinking myself. Are they not meeting his needs? Are they ignoring him? Are they feeling the same as you? Are they actually wearing earplugs as well to go to sleep? They probably are, man. He says, I never hear their voices, even though the child is clear as day. The curtains are constantly shut on all sides of the flat, and I've only seen her briefly once. Outside the flat, I let the council know, but not heard anything since. What can the council actually do? I mean, they could probably put soundproof insulation inside of the walls in that person's room or around the house that will, keep the noise levels down, hopefully. Like you get in a music studio. You have them soundboards that, I don't know what they're actually called. They're probably called a soundboard, innit? So, yeah, it's a very tricky situation. The only thing you can do is, suppose, like you said, go to the council. The council probably don't want to do anything. But they have to, don't they? Because it's the disturbance of peace, or whatever they call it. I don't know. The other thing he has put down, he says, I wouldn't know what to say. I can't exactly ask them to try and help her stop, and I wouldn't want to. So he's still a caring person. Do you know what I mean? This bloke. He's just like, I totally get it, mate. I totally get it. Why you are disturbed. I mean, my mum, right, her neighbours, it's going off topic a bit, but the kids that live next door to her, they're really, really noisy. And every time I go down to my mum's house, I'm like, why do they make so much racket, man? And my mum's like, I don't know, these bloody stupid, they always like that. They always do it for many, many years. They all like screaming and they're fighting. And I'm like, bloody hell, mum. What a terrible place to live. Anyway, he says, in light of all of this, what possible solution is there? I've reported the situation to the council for concerns around neglect. What could I possibly do for my own peace without offending or upsetting anyone? Oh, I want to know what some people have said. One person said, I had this and I moved out. Another person has said, yep, it's a no-win situation. They've got a disabled kid, so the world owes them. You know this, by not knowing how to raise it with them. Because really, you can't without being in the wrong. And they know that too, of course. The kid's disabled and nothing can change that. Oh. As a parent of a more noisy than I would like disabled young person, this is someone else putting it up. The biggest red flag is that the parents have never spoken to you. We live in a semi-detached house, and when my neighbours moved in, we introduced ourselves, lightly explained the situation, and made it clear they can always tell us if the noise is too much. We try to check in often with them, and always apologise if it was a rough night. We regularly have had to pull all-nighters to try and keep our child calm and quiet. We're also planning to add some sound insulation, here we go, to the party wall at the end of the year. It isn't easy, but I can't see why they wouldn't have tried to get out ahead of this if they were genuine. I think that basically sums it up. Go to your council, tell them what's happened. If you can speak to your neighbours that you barely see because their curtains are always closed, which I find is really strange and weird, why wouldn't you want natural light coming into your house? I don't even know. But yeah, mate, get some sound insulation. Well, they should put the sound insulation in. You shouldn't have to do it. It's a very tricky situation, and I feel for you, mate. I absolutely do feel for you. Right, let's move on with the podcast. I mean, what a thing to be in. What a situation. There's so many situations out there, isn't there, in life? We just don't know what's happening. Do you know what I was thinking the other day? I was thinking, do you know what I haven't heard a lot about this year? Which is strange, right? Normally I'll know about it. I don't. The Chinese New Year. Has anyone seen anything around the China? I'm sure last year it was proper big, wasn't it? Is that because it was the dragon? Was it last year? I don't even know what last year's Chinese resolution was. Was it dragon? I think it was. The whole Chinese New Year was a big hoo-ha, wasn't it? And now this year, I've heard hardly anything. I don't know why. I don't know why this came into my head. I was just thinking about it, because I know February, it's around that time of year, isn't it, when it's the Chinese, you know. And another thing, by the way, I forgot to tell you all this. It was my birthday yesterday. And you're thinking, yeah, but what day was yesterday, Lovdev? Happy birthday, mate. 20th of February was my birthday. That's a Thursday. I took the day off from work. My mates, my colleagues at work were like, are you coming in on Thursday? I was like, nah, mate, it's my birthday, innit? They were like, come on, man. You're only working till like 5 o'clock. I was like, I know, but I've got reasons. I don't work on my birthday. I'm just one of them. I didn't do a lot, to be honest. I had a nice birthday. Thank you for the happy birthday messages via your brain mentally. I heard them all going off. I took my kid out. So my daughter, her birthday's next week, right? She turns the big 16, 1-6, sweet 16. I know. This is the age where I need to start worrying. Do you know what I mean? So she had an escape room event. A couple of her friends went. My wife had to go because the game they were playing, I think it was Tomb Raider, they needed an adult supervision, so my missus had to go. Although it was meant to be another friend who was meant to be there, but she didn't turn up. So my wife went, took the kids there. They had a good time. I took my son, as it was my birthday, on that same day they went out. We went to watch Sonic the Hedgehog, number 3. With Jim Carrey in it. I've seen Sonic 1, and I haven't really seen Sonic 2. I watched it briefly on the TV. But Sonic 3, I thought, let me take him. There's nothing else to do. What else am I going to do? Sit at home, record a podcast. Not on my birthday, mate. That's my day. We went and watched the film. Brilliant. I loved it. Sonic 3 is really good. Did make me well up a little bit. I don't know why. But it was very funny. I thought Jim Carrey was great in it. And he's always great in films. He's always good. There was a lot of innuendos in it, which I really enjoyed. That's what I liked about the film as well. Yeah, it was a great film. So I don't know why I've told you that and what we were going to go into. I've totally forgot why I was talking about it. But anyway, let's do a conspiracy theory.
Conspiracy theories, what's real, what's fake? Conspiracy theories, what's real, what's fake? Conspiracy theories, what's real, what's fake?
Conspiracy theories, what's real and what is fake out there in the universe of the universe. Oh, that was it. It was the Chinese New... I've just totally remembered now. I was talking about the Chinese New Year and all that. Because this conspiracy theory is to do with years. Not the Chinese New Year, but a different year. Let's find out what the hell I'm talking about. It's been posted by OK Coconut. What a great name. OK Coconut has a very interesting conspiracy theory. He says, I think I figured out the real reason we have a leap year. And it's terrifying. Oh, let's see what he's saying. So, all right, I need to get this out there because I think I just stumbled onto something really weird about leap years. And the more I think about it, the more it freaks me out. We've always been told that leap years exist to fix the calendar because Earth's orbit is exactly 365 days. But why does it work in such a perfect 4-year cycle? Why does February, the shortest month, get that extra day? And why does it seem like nothing important ever happens on February the 29th? He said, I started digging and here's what he's found out. Okay, I think he's been using chat LGBT because it looks like chat LGBT to me. So here it is. Number 1. What if leap years are a simulation reset? Think about it, he says. Every 4 years, the system adds an extra day. But what if that's not to keep the calendar accurate? What if it's to keep our reality from breaking down? Every 4 years, the system patches the simulation so we don't notice any glitches. This explains why we experience more Mandela effects and deja vu around leap years. Is that true? I don't know. Have I had a leap year? I know it's not a leap year this year, but you know what I mean. Maybe time isn't off. Maybe the system is forcing it to correct itself. So every leap year, he's trying to say, is an update. You know how you get an update on your phone? Like, you know, you're on Apple or I don't know, you're on Android. There's a new Android update. And that's what that is. The leap year is an update. That's what he's trying to say. It's not a bad theory. It's bonkers. But I don't know, mate. Anyway, number 2, the missing 24-hour theory. If we get an extra day every 4 years, we should all technically be 24 hours older than we think we are. But no one seems to gain time. So where does that extra time go? Could it be that those 24 hours are actually being erased, repeated, or rewritten? Number 3, computers and technology glitch more in leap years. Here we go. Software bugs, banking errors, and even NASA calculations have problems with leap years. What if a computer are picking it up on something unnatural about that date? The AI system even struggled with February the 29th. They weren't programmed to understand it fully. Number 4 theory, he thinks, the leapling phenomenon. People born on leap day, they're called leaplings, I didn't know that. They have a weird relationship with time. They age differently on paper. Some leaplings claim to experience more frequent deja vu, time slips, or other strange sense of not belonging in a specific year. Could they somehow be outside the normal rules of time? Now, I'm just going to pause this, right? I've been watching this thing last night on the telly called Uncanny. Some of you are probably watching this. It's a BBC documentary about people who have experienced paranormal, spiritual, out of this world experiences. That was the word. There was this one person who said, apparently it's famous, right? It's in Liverpool. I want to go there now. It's that famous, right? There's a street somewhere in Liverpool and there's a shop. Apparently this woman went to this shop window, looked at this window, and everything that was displayed in the shop window was from the 1940s, 50s, that era, right? That type of clothing. And she thought, oh, maybe it's just a display. They're promoting, they're celebrating some of that era, right? And then she said, when she turned round to look at the street, she said everyone was wearing these 1940s and 50s clothes and they're walking around. And she said everyone looked old school. There was a bloke with a big, massive newspaper around his arm. And she said it was really weird. And apparently there was another bloke who was walking out the shop or in the shop at the same time as her, stopped, looked at her and said, did you just see what I did? So they both experienced this time slip. And they said that it does happen. And I just was like, wow. And I do believe it probably did happen to both of them, because it wasn't just, it was two people that experienced this weird 1940s time slip at that specific moment. Weird. So let's get back to this. I don't know what, it was just a very, you know when you watch something and you think, oh, that's really interesting. Like, I love stuff like that. You know I love stuff like that. And I was like, wow, is this true? Because it's quite famous, apparently. This story is in Liverpool. But it happened a long time ago. I think it happened, was it in the 90s, I think it happened? It's about 20, 30 years ago it happened to these two people. And apparently there's someone else that it happened to that was there at the time. But they've kind of remained anonymous. Like, why did that? Anyway, what? I was blowing my mind out. So, time slips or a strange sense of not belonging in a specific year. Could they somehow be outside the normal rules of time? Could that person who experienced this time slip in Liverpool, I know I'm going back to it, could they have been born on the leap day year? Like, is she a leapling? I need to find out. I'm going to ask, because I can email this guy, this uncanny dude. He looks a bit like Brian Cox, like a younger version of Brian Cox. And he acts like him as well, which is really weird. I forgot his name. I think his name's Danny. I don't know why. Uncanny with Danny. I think that's the name of the show. Let's get back to this theories guy of leap years. Number 5, major global event seemed to align with a leap year. The Great Depression started in 1929, because that's a leap year. The Y2K bug, which was a potential digital collapse in 2000. I remember that. That was a leap year. Nothing actually happened, though. They were all worried that because it's going to be the year 2000, all the computers are going to crash. Nothing happened, though. The US presidential election is always in a leap year, maybe to reset history. And that's what he's put there. Now, his final verdict: what if every 4 years there's a reality reboot? I'm starting to wonder if time is not what we think it is. That every leap year is a moment where something fundamental in reality shifts without us realizing it. Maybe they need this extra day to fix mistakes, adjust the timeline, or smooth over simulation errors before we notice. Maybe that's why February the 29th feels empty, like a placeholder, like a day that was never supposed to exist. What do you think? Has anyone ever noticed weird things happening in leap year? Interesting. Have any of you guys out there who'd never respond to any of my questions experienced something on a leap year? I can't specifically think of anything myself. Maybe because my brain resets, therefore I don't know what's going on in the world. I'm absolutely bonkers. Do you know what? The time flies so much on this podcast. You know, even like before I think I'm recording it, I'm thinking, oh, I've got nothing to talk about. And then I'm off on one. Boom. I'm like, what, like, you know, like Sonic the Hedgehog. That's what I'm like. Whash. Let's do the next one. Boom, boom. He's gone. He's collecting rings. He's going around. I'm like Sonic the Hedgehog, me. Talking about Sonic the Hedgehog. Let's do a weird news story because I've gone way over my time. Some of you don't care. Some of you are like, fantastic, Lovdev. I can actually listen to your podcast all the way before I get to work. You're absolutely welcome, mate. Maybe it was a leap year and you didn't even know this podcast happened. Talking about leap years and other weird things, let's do the weird news story. Today's weird news story is also weirdly out of this world. I believe it is from the United States because it's been put up on the New York Post website. Let's see what this is all about. This came out yesterday. Oh, interesting. So the title of the weird news is the US Air Force pilot reports a close encounter with a football-sized UFO in a leaked audio. Right under my wing. That's the leaked audio. So, a US Air Force pilot on a secret flight reported a football-sized cylindrical UFO closely passing by his jet in California last September, according to a newly leaked audio. The experienced pilot flying a Beechcraft 350C through a controlled airspace on September the 17th reported a close encounter with an unidentified object on a clear afternoon above California. According to a recording of his call with air control, this is going to sound weird. The pilot, identified as Troy 21, tells a local air traffic controller in Los Angeles at 2:30 p.m. But I just had something pass under my wing. Maybe a football-sized object right under my wing. Maybe it was you were flying over a American football pitch and someone blasted the ball and it went really high up and you thought it was that. The pilot was an undisclosed military-related flight involving the Department of Homeland Security. The air traffic controller asked if the pilot believed the flying object was a drone. I didn't think of that. To which the pilot, flying at 20,000 feet, responded he was unsure. Experts told the News Nation that some military and hobbyist drones can reach altitudes that high, though those types of drones are very uncommon. I've got my sensor operator looking for it on the camera right now. We'll see if we can find it. This is what Troy 21 said. But it was like a dark grey cylindrical object, and it was probably the size of a football, and it passed maybe 10 feet under our wing. The pilot said this back to them. Roughly a minute later, the airman reported seeing an object on the jet's air-to-air. About 40 seconds after that, he reported seeing an object on a radar 60 miles away, but it's unclear if it was the one that passed him under the wing. For the object to be one of the same, the UFO would need to be travelling over Mach 2 speed to cover the distance in the short amount of time. So later in the leaked recording, a different air controller can be heard saying, There was a UFO reported here, but that's all been taken care of now. One of those air traffic controllers later reported the sighting to the National UFO Reporting Center. The close encounter has similarities to a former NASA astronaut Leroy Chio. Shout out to Leroy Chio. He reported sightings of 2 cylindrical metallic orbs while flying in his personal plane over the Texas Panhandle last summer. Chiao told the Post that the 2 objects passed about 10 feet under his wings. They showed no visible means of propulsion and were unlike anything the 3-time spacegoer ever witnessed. There was nothing around me for other than the panhandle of Texas at 9,000 feet on his instrument flight plan, and suddenly these things appeared. Chiao said, "They came right at me. They came to say hello." Probably. The retired astronaut said he was reminded of the Pentagon's report of a small cylindrical object flying through a controlled airspace in Iraq, which was caught on radar footage, and then they shared it publicly in 23. That was my first thought, that this must be some secret military program. But what the hell are they doing flying where aeroplanes are operating, especially under instrument flight rules? Why wouldn't they be in military airspace, he has said. That's the weird news story of today. So I've heard a lot about this cylindrical object. They believe it looks like a tic-tac. So if you look at a tic-tac, it's that shape. Why would something like that be next to a plane? There is a video of it. It looks very CGI. You see it flying over the aeroplane, and it's like a tic-tac flying in the sky. It does look CGI, I'm not going to lie, but it could be real. I'm not saying it isn't, because I'm not saying anything. Let's just end the podcast. That was today's weird news story. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I will speak to you guys next week. Stay safe, and yeah, just stay safe, innit? That's all I can say, really.